Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Thursday edition of Video Clips, which is brought to you by Wellness Forum Health, the Wellness Forum Institute, and Make Americans Free Again. Just a couple quick announcements. Tomorrow is the research boot camp, tomorrow night and Saturday afternoon. So if you have trouble providing fact-based answers to people who challenge your opinions about health, or you just look stuff up and get confused and people write to me all the time and say, one study shows this and another study shows that. And how do you tell the difference? Well, that's what you're going to learn at the boot camp. So it's about a 5-hour boot camp. And what I've done this time, I asked the students to send questions. And then we're actually going to go through and I'm going to show you the methodology for answering those questions once we cover the basic principles of how to do this. So you'll actually see what I teach you in process toward the end on the Saturday session. So anyway, delivered via Zoom. We will record it. People always ask about that because not everybody can attend no matter when we schedule it. So that's coming up. You don't want to miss it. And then the other thing, we have a free boot camp for health professionals next week. It's from 8 to 11, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the 22nd, 23rd, 24th of July. 9 hours of free education for health professionals designed to help you start or grow the healthcare practice of your dreams. I've done it. We've been in business for almost 30 years and we've generated enormous amounts of money doing this. And I don't like to talk about money, except that it is kind of a marker of whether or not your ideas are accepted in the marketplace, and ours have been in many, many ways. So anyway, lots of time for questions, a very rich and dense curricula that I think you'll really be glad that you participated in. And then I have 3 news items to share with you. One, we'll start with the first one. Those of you who, like me, stood strong and refused to get the COVID jab, and some of you paid a high price for it, lost your job, got kicked out of school. You're going to feel really good about your decision when you hear this. And you may have already heard a little bit about it because it's circulating the internet like crazy. An undercover reporter working for James O'Keefe recorded a conversation with Joshua Rise, lead regulatory scientist at Johnson & Johnson, about the company's COVID vaccine. The disclosures were kind of horrifying. Here's what he said, quote, "Do you have any idea the lack of research that was done on these products," referring to the vaccines? "You shouldn't be surprised that this happened. It was pretty much the government made a deal with pharmaceutical companies and kind of pressured the pharmaceutical companies because we're not going to say no to the government." Gosh, you just got to love a company that won't say no to the government, right? The government is like, yo, these 3 big-ass companies, we need help. We need to figure this out. You're solving this problem. When asked about Joe Biden's assurances that the vaccines were safe and effective, he replied, quote, "None of that stuff was safe and effective. People wanted it. We gave it to them." And then he says, "We didn't do the typical tests, the typical process. That's why it takes so long to get a product on market. The typical process is all this clinical trial testing and stuff in a small population. This was just, let's test it on some lab rat models, analyze, see if it works and stuff like that, and just throw it to the wind and see what happens." We've finished by saying, "I'm sure somebody is going to get sued for that stuff eventually." Well, we're some of the people suing for that stuff eventually. And I mean, this is just horrifying. It's not surprising if you said no to the vaccine, your instincts told you that this was a terrible idea. And by the way, the whole reason why an EUA product, emergency use authorization product, is voluntary, they can't make you do it, is because it is by its very nature a rushed product brought to market, and there's going to be some risk associated with it, so people should be able to choose. And if you chose and you got beat the heck out of you for choosing, you know that you did the right thing. I think it's really interesting. Johnson & Johnson in December of 2021, because the drug companies are just such amazing liars. They lie when the truth fits better, frankly, but this was their press release in December 2021. Now measure this against what this guy said in the undercover video. "The safety and well-being of those who use the Johnson & Johnson vaccine continues to be our #1 priority." I mean, really, its #1 priority is safety. Well, if it were safety, they never would have allowed themselves to be pressured to bring the product to market. It never ceases to amaze me how people will not stand on principle. And I guess one of the reasons that irritates me is that I have stood on principle and been beat all to heck for it. I'm not sorry I did it, and I knew I was going to take a hit for doing it. But I just wish that more people would do it and companies would. So J&J's since withdrawn this lovely product from the market. And again, not surprising, but a reminder of why we have to keep filing lawsuits. This is going to help, by the way, several of our lawsuits where we have claimed that the product could not be mandated, and there were reasons why, and this really supports our stance on that. So this is super helpful. The timing could not be better because we have a lot of cases getting ready for trial that deal with this vaccine mandate issue. And by the way, we need money. I always have to throw in we need money because we have cases going to trial and attorneys have to be paid. They have families and mortgage payments just like the rest of us, right? Okay, second item, what I just told you is going to make what I'm going to tell you next just difficult to fathom. On July 10th, the FDA, under new management, where everything's going to be swell, just granted full approval for Moderna's mRNA COVID-19 vaccine, the Spikevax, for at-risk children aged 6 months to 11 years. The shot was previously approved under EUA status, and now it has full approval. So we've already got 6-month-old babies who've gotten a dozen shots by the time they're 6 months old. And by the way, the statistical chance that a kid in this age group is going to have serious COVID or die from it is zero, statistically speaking. And so the FDA may be under new management with a new director, but it's still being run by drug companies, and this is evidence of that. So if we want things to be different, we have to make them different. There's a chapter in the book that Heidi and I just finished called Making Them Irrelevant. That's what we have to do. We have to make them irrelevant. How do you make them irrelevant? You create a system where people don't have to go see doctors who demand that babies get vaccinated with this piece of crap in order to continue being members of the practice. And that takes enormous numbers of people coming together to do it. And I think I mentioned last week, I was asked or on Tuesday rather, I was asked at a conference last week, what I'm doing is that I'm creating a huge consumer movement based on informed medical decision making in healthcare and suing the pants off of people who don't, and companies and medical practices and drug companies and government agencies who don't abide by the informed consent laws. That's what we're doing. So help us do that. Join Wellness Forum, join Make Americans Free Again, and help us create that giant movement that can just move us all away from this stuff. Now, I'd like to finish on a hopeful note here. So I have some good news about health to share with you that doesn't involve COVID, and vaccines and mandates, right? Your body does detoxify chemicals. So I'm going to show you how well engineered your body is. It is to do so many things, including detoxify if you just take care of it. Now, this is related, what I'm going to share today is related to your gut microbiome, which performs so many functions related to human health. I even created an entire course around the microbiome. The beneficial bugs in your gut help you to absorb nutrients from food. They prevent pathogens from getting into your body, and they even produce anti-inflammatory compounds like butyrate when you eat high fiber foods. Now, researchers have discovered that 9 species of bacteria in the human gut can help to remove what we refer to as forever chemicals from the body. I always have trouble with the pronunciation, but polyfluoroalkyl substances, or PFAS, are chemicals used in all kinds of consumer products, the makeup that you wear, nonstick pans, food packaging. They're referred to as forever chemicals because they don't break down real well in the environment, at least some of them don't. There's a great deal of debate about exactly how much they impact human health. Some people on some sides of the issue say that, well, almost everything that's going wrong is chemical contamination. That's affecting the cancer rates and your immune system and that sort of thing. There are many others on the other side of the issue, including me, who acknowledge that chemical contamination is not okay, but there are more readily identifiable and more certain causes of cancer and immune dysfunction, like diet and alcohol, obesity, lack of exercise, and stress. And those are the things that are super controllable that we should be paying attention to. So let's go back to the PFAS. We all agree it would be great to minimize their impact on human health, and it seems that our bodies are super well equipped to do this. First, the short chain PFAS are readily and almost immediately eliminated from your body in urine. It's the long chain PFAS that tend to hang around for a longer period of time. But as it turns out, your microbiome, if it's in good shape, there is that caveat, can detoxify these substances, and a recent experiment shows this. Researchers identified 9 bacterial species in the human gut that can absorb 2 common types of long-chain PFAS. When the bacteria were implanted with mice, they absorbed the chemicals, which were then excreted through feces. The researchers stated that the bacteria perform this task to protect themselves from damage, which in turn benefits you. So they protect themselves, and while they're doing it, they protect you. The researchers concluded that perhaps probiotic supplements would be a good option for people. It's true that many people probably are candidates to take probiotics because the way most people live these days is horribly damaging to the microbiome, the drugs we take, the foods we eat. But so you might want to take a probiotic. But what you do every day really has a huge impact on your microbiome. So if you want to protect and build and maintain a healthy microbiome, eat a low-fat diet with lots of plants. Your pathogenic bacteria love protein, fat, and animal food, and your so-called good guys prefer carbohydrate and fiber. And your diet every day is going to be the biggest determinant of your bacterial colonies. I mean, you can't take enough probiotics to overcome the damage from a bad and unhealthy diet. So every time you eat, every meal you consume, remember, you're feeding yourself and trillions of tiny critters that are happy to help keep you healthy if you will just take good care of them. All right. One more announcement. I'm super excited about this. We have a new website. We're in the process of doing a lot of new things at Wellness Forum and Make Americans Free Again. mathatribessupport.com. And you can send people there. It's just beautiful, clean, what we're all about. We have new flyers and new business cards. So if you are an avid MAFA supporter and you'd like to help us get more members and you want to build a tribe or grow your existing tribe or get back to your tribe, these are helpful resources for you. And there's lots more good stuff like that coming. We're super fortunate to have a great publicity and marketing person. My co-author, Heidi Plum, is terrific with this stuff. So we're popping up all over the place. We're starting to get a lot of attention, and you can help us with that by spreading the word yourself. All right, that's it for today. First of all, a reminder, join Wellness Forum, join Make Americans Free Again, go to donate. Donations are so helpful at this point in time because all the stuff that we worked on for 5 years is now coming to fruition. We're getting trials and hearings and that kind of thing. So please donate. And if you're interested in the free health professionals workshop next week or the research workshop that starts tomorrow, send me an email at pampopper@wellnessforum.com. Pass this on to other people. One of the great ways you can spread the word is to pass these videos on to friends and invite them to sign up too. That expands our subscriber base and our reach. We sure appreciate it when you do that. And that's it for today. I'll be back to you next week with more news. And thank you so much for watching.